Hi, my name is Sarah Nurmela, and I am a candidate for Westminster City Council. This is a video of my recent campaign kickoff where I had two special guests, Mayor Anita Seitz and Senator Faith Winter. I hope that through this video, you'll be able to get a glimpse into my values and what I can bring to City Council. I hope that you will support my campaign, whether that's through volunteering or a donation. I'll have links to both of those opportunities below. And so I leave you with Mayor Anita Seitz.
It's not uncommon that folks, even people who really care about national politics, just don't pay attention to local elections. But I can promise you that's a mistake, because at the local level, we work on policies that directly address so many issues facing our country and our lives. Issues like equity, opportunity, sustainability, attainable housing, community engagement and efficacy, public health and safety, even climate action. So many of the levers that are meaningful and on those issues are the purview of local government. These are the levers that allow us to address fairness, justice, and quality of life in Westminster. And we are so lucky because Sarah doesn't just share the belief that those are important things to work on. She is a master of knowing how to pull those levers. I personally believe Sarah's a bit of a unicorn. She is that candidate who believes deeply and works tirelessly on the values of diversity, equity, and inclusivity. She's the candidate who wants to build economic resilience and opportunity, who understands through her own life story the importance of attainable housing. But she's also a respected and outstanding local government professional who has the education and over 20 years of experience to help actualize that vision and to help actualize it here in Westminster. She doesn't just share a vision of a thriving and sustainable community. She has literally dedicated her entire life's work to implementing that vision. I get goosebumps thinking about what she will be able to help us accomplish when she joins our team. So as Sarah mentioned, I had the privilege of working with her when she was with the city of Westminster. And she has left behind in that, I believe it was 8 years. Is that how long you worked in Westminster, Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's left a legacy in that period of time. She impressed me almost immediately with her brilliance. One example of that is she partnered with almost every single department in the city to craft the city's first comprehensive plan. Before that, we only had a comprehensive land use plan. So it was really a siloed static document that didn't understand as deeply how land use impacted things like our water resources or our infrastructure. She created this integrated plan so that we as policymakers could make better decisions, but also so the community could know what to expect and the city could be more wise with our resources, planning on how to use them. Another example of her brilliance, her persistence, and her doggedness is our downtown. So when I first got on council, that downtown was languishing. They had gone through master developer after master developer. In the short period of time where Sarah was in charge of that project, she took it from this languishing site and transformed it into this first phase of an urban infill, multimodal, multi-use, 20% affordable housing, local and unique retail and restaurants into this just thriving beginning block of our downtown. That's no small feat, because if you are communicating a vision to a developer, what they want to hear is bottom line. And she was able to transform people, transform their vision into our vision through her passion, through her doggedness, and honestly, when necessary, through her stubbornness. She has both grit, savoir-faire. She can get it done. What was really impressive to me is, as a new council member, she really helped educate each one of us about the importance of planning, on the life of our residents, and how planning, which had been a tool to keep people, segregated in the past, could be used as a tool of inclusion. So I would just tell you professionally, Sarah is remarkable. I want to explain to you now just very quickly, and I know I'm probably going long, Sarah, but why this is such an important election. When I came into council in 2013, I was lucky enough to serve with some really incredibly talented elected officials with me. Now Senator Faith Winter, former Mayor Pro Tem Alberto Garcia, and now Adams County Commissioner Emma Pinter. And together, we changed the direction of the city. We changed to be a more inclusive community. We worked on issues like attainable housing, wanting to make sure we encourage voter registration, that we made environmental stewardship a goal of ours. We pushed the scope of local government to make sure we had everybody at the table, not just those that had typically had power and efficacy in the community. I think we are at a very precarious point in our city's history where all of that good work could be dismantled. I cannot overstate how important this election is going to be and how quickly all of that hard work can be undone. We have a lot of accomplishments when you look at what Westminster has done over the last 7 years, and I'm proud of that. And I feel that having Sarah on council with us will ensure that we continue to move the city forward and to not go backwards. I think it's too important, the work we do, to see us lose that momentum. So I hope you will join me today in supporting Sarah, in giving a donation, in signing up to volunteer, and making sure we get her past the finish line this November. Thank you guys all for logging on to this today. And I'm sorry if I went longer than you had hoped, Sarah, but I'm pretty excited at the opportunity to work with you and have you join our team.
Thank you so much, Anita, and you did not go long. I appreciate everything that you've shared, and I am just so excited to be supported by everyone here and to just be kicking off this council campaign. This is very important to me, and so today, my goal today is just to help you get to know who I am and why I'm running, and really what I care about, what drives me, and why I'm the person to support for city council. So I'm going to tell you, if I can click here, maybe not. I'm going to tell you 4 stories. And the first 3 are my lived experiences and are really what drive me to be in public service and to do what I do on a daily basis. And the last is why Westminster is so important to me and my experience just learning about the city itself. Before I do that, I just want to introduce you to my family in these images. They are the people that drive me. They also drive me crazy sometimes, but they are the people that are behind me. And in this case, in this picture in front of me, Brian is my husband, and my 3 girls, Sophie, Noe, and Cora. And they joined me in this, and they are supporting me as I build my career and while I continue to work for not only Westminster, but even the larger region as a whole now that I work over in Denver. So I'm very blessed to have them. Let me just click on. So my first story is going to be a song in your head for the rest of the day. If anybody knows me decently enough, they know that I quote often from music and movies, and apparently I don't really have anything original. But life is about just, when you're traveling on many different roads, right? Sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it's bumpy, and that has a great impact sometimes on the way that we are shaped and the values that we have. So for the first half of my childhood, we had it pretty great. My brother and sister and I lived with our parents in a nice home in a nice suburb in Southern California. And we had a pretty solid, typical middle-class existence. And you can see by all of us, very nerdy 80s clothes as well. But then my parents divorced when I was at the age of 11, and our family split up. My brother and sister went to live with my dad, and I stayed with my mom. And soon, though, my mom had my younger brother, and a few years later, my younger sister, and I was in love with them. I had always wanted a younger brother and sister, and I was truly happy to have them in my life. And our situation was not a stable one. We lived on and off with their father, my stepfather, who was a severe alcoholic. And, we were often pretty terrorized by some of his actions, a lot of ups and downs. We did not have financial stability. And however, my mom did what she could to support 3 kids and not having a career of her own. She was a homemaker for 20 years. So we did end up moving often. We many times lived with family for a few months at a time or a year at a time. And, we traveled a lot across the country. So that's kind of some of the highway reference. We had a lot of road trips. And over the course of 6 years, we lived in 9 different places, 9 different cities. And so 9 different schools for me in 3 different states. And so, the most stable part of our lives ended up being going to Missouri, state of Missouri, and where we were able to live in affordable housing. And there we had a good home base. I started college. I was able to contribute more financially to the household and help and to continue to help raise my younger brother and sister. And these experiences have really they've never left me. And as a result, I fully understand what it means for a family to have access to affordable housing and to have access to social supports that create stability, because that is what we all need. We need the stability, we need housing, we need the opportunity to thrive. And that's what so many people are experiencing today, particularly from the pandemic, but just overall, the gap in wealth right now is huge, and it's existing here in Westminster, and we need to be fighting for ensuring everybody is able to continue towards resilience and financial stability. Oops, I am sorry. My second story is about family. I love my family, and maybe this song will be stuck in your head for the rest of the day. Back when my brother and my older brother there, and I were rather young, my mom decided that she wanted to adopt another child. So she contacted the Catholic Family Services, and who had an orphanage in Japan, and that is where she found my sister Mindy. And I, at the time, was 3 years old. And I was so excited to have a sister. As you can tell, I love siblings. And when she came over, she did not speak a lick of English. And so I was very eager to help her. I taught her the alphabet. We had some fun ups and downs. I believe our first Christmas, we both received kitchens, little play kitchens. And Mindy shouted out, "A chicken, a chicken." And it was pretty funny. But I watched Mindy just overcome her struggles to learn the language, learn how to write in English, and that's so important in school in those early years. And Mindy became a straight A student because she rocks. And by the way, graduated summa cum laude from her graduate school. And one of the things that not only having a sister and just watching her, learn the language and learn how to matriculate into our culture is that my mom actually brought in a lot of exchange students over the years, mostly from Japan, but from a lot of other countries too. And we were just exposed to a wide range of cultures and what it really is like to be learning a language, trying to fit into not only a family, but into a new school and a culture. And so that just taught me to have a lot of patience and understanding for just we're all in the same boat, and we could easily be in the same boat in a different country ourselves. So these experiences have really helped me to understand how to be inclusive and welcoming, and just understanding what it takes for people of different backgrounds and cultures to be able to come into our community. And just extrapolating on this, it's so important today, right now, for us to be able to maintain our inclusivity within the city, to expand it, to welcome diversity, to welcome the cultural gifts that other folks are bringing into our community, and to ensure that we're creating a welcoming environment into the future, and where diversity is respected and welcomed. So, and my third story. We all like to breathe. It's important. And, sometimes in Denver, not as easy with our air quality. And I want to tell you a story about the first place that my husband and I bought in Oakland, downtown Oakland. It was a condo in Jack London Square. It was right next to the freeway. It was what we could afford. It was our first place. We're very happy with it. But what we didn't know at that time was that the air filtration system in that building did not filter through the fine particulate that came off the freeway. And what we know now through more environmental studies is that within a 500-foot distance from any freeway or major arterial, that fine particulate is one of the key causes to what we find a lot of instances for asthma in urban settings and environments. Well, in 2008, we had our first daughter, brought her back to this condo, and she lived there for her first 3 years. And she ended up developing asthma. And none of us had that. And so that was something that has impacted our lives, particularly moving out to Colorado when she was 3. We experienced really for the next, during that time, but also over the next 5-6 years, just in and out of the hospital, tackling asthma attacks, tackling pneumonia that would come from every cold she ever had out here. And I'm so happy to say that, she is improving, and like her sisters, they are all soccer players and they're all outside all the time. They're also tennis players. I just, didn't get any pictures of them playing. But our air quality out here in the Denver region is not the best, as we all know. And I think one of the things that was really just unsettling for us last year was the fires, where we were breathing in this thick smoke for months. And it really impacted me. This is actually at Big Dry Creek Park, and my daughter was practicing soccer out behind me when I took this picture. This just goes to show just how important it is to ensure that we are trying to tackle climate change and tackle our air quality within not only Westminster and what we can do at a citywide basis, but as a region working together. And it's not just my kids I worry about, it's all of us. And I want us to be able to live in a healthy, safe environment, and to ensure that we have environmental justice for those folks who don't have access to good, clean air. There are areas throughout Denver and Westminster that have poor air quality just based on geographic location and adjacencies of other uses. So got a little nerdy there. So that is about what drives me. And I just want to talk a little bit about my experience just working and living in Westminster. So like I said, or maybe I didn't, but I moved here about 10 years ago with my husband and my daughter. And we ended up living in North Park. That was our first neighborhood to try out. And we loved living there. It was our first house with a backyard. Grass was really cool. And then we ended up moving to Bradburn, rented a little bit in that neighborhood and enjoyed that area. And then now we were finally able to, or after several years, we were able to buy a house in Harmony Park. And I wouldn't say that was easy. It's definitely cheaper than now, but we still needed some help to get there. So all of this time I was working for the city of Westminster. I joined back in 2011 as the first long-range city planner. A lot of people don't know what a city planner does. We plan everything. It's looking at just every aspect of city growth and city function and infrastructure and ensuring it all works together. And so for me, that was the opportunity to, one of the first things I did was to create a new comprehensive plan. Like Mayor Seitz had said earlier, we just had a land use plan. We weren't looking at the adjacencies, the impacts of the land use vision that we had on our transportation infrastructure, on our demand for parks and open space, on our demand for water. That was a big one. And all of the infrastructure that serve and our public services that serve all of this development. So this was a great opportunity for me to basically look in every corner of the city, got to know every neighborhood, got to have an understanding of just how great the city is, where some of the challenges are in the community, where we have older infrastructure, where we need to make improvements. I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of community members through this time frame, and it really helped me just further invest myself as a community member myself to ensure that we had resilience looking forward. And over the years, I was able to also work on Westminster Station and historic Westminster area. This is a big area plan that incorporated a lot of development to the north, as well as the station and the park itself. And I think this is a key asset for our community now, especially rail and transit access. Hopefully we can continue building that within the community. But this is a great park now, 40 acres, and they're building, by the way, a great nature park and should be open in the fall. So I am really excited to take my kids there. And then I was also able, as Mayor Seitz, Mayor Seitz said that I did get the chance to create a downtown for Westminster. And this for me was probably the best opportunity ever to be able to look at what would you do if you had to create a downtown from scratch? What kind of decisions would you make to ensure that, one, it was going to be resilient over time, that and two, that what would you put in it? What should be there? What's the community want? We were able to create a plan with community input and a vision for this area that was encompassing a wide range of uses, but being a place for everybody. And that included affordable housing and parks and activation and things to do, and hopefully transit. We do have a great bus station there to start with. But this process wasn't easy. If any of you have driven past there for the past, 10, 15 years, you've wondered what's going on with the mall. And it took a long time, even internally, for the city to figure out, what do we need to do? What's the right decision here? Do we let a master developer just take it and run with it? Or do we craft our own future here and sell this off block by block and make a decision on everything that goes in there? Not only was that a question, but the question of, how should we have affordable housing there? If so, where? How much? We were asking ourselves how much park space should be here, and in that case, where should it be? I tortured people. It was not going to be next to a freeway. Where else? How should we activate those parks, right? Should we incentivize development, the type of development we needed to be there so that we have the long-term return on it? Should there be free internet there? How do we get a train station there? What kind of infrastructure do we need to handle the capacity on there? So a lot of questions, key fundamental questions that had to be answered and decisions to be made. And I think at every point we could have gone the easy route. But I think ensuring and for me, what drove me in pushing for all of those answers that today you see out there was to make sure that we were delivering for what the community wanted and what was going to be maintainable for the community over time. Like, we don't have, for instance, Belmar that has gone bankrupt. We have a downtown that has weathered and will continue to weather a pandemic and other situations economically. So I want to tell you, it takes determination, it takes will, it takes an understanding of what and how a city works. It takes creative and effective solutions and knowing what those are and how a city works from the inside out. And it takes passion and a love for our community. I have that, and I want to make sure that for Westminster, we continue to thrive economically, socially, and environmentally. And I hope that I can get all of your support and working to get onto City Council to continue my efforts. And so I am going to introduce you to Senator Faith Winter, and I just want to say she was an inspiration to me when she first got onto City Council. She was this amazing lone voice talking about affordable housing. Loved it because I wasn't even allowed to say affordable housing or sustainability, literally, when I got to the city, and Faith was just mowing people over in the city council, and I loved it. And she brought and really kind of turned the ship. And so I'd like to introduce Faith.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sarah, for having me here. Thank you, Mayor Seitz, for introducing Sarah. It's really good to see everyone. And I want to highlight two specific things. First, Mayor Seitz said that she thinks Sarah is a unicorn. And I'm going to agree with that, right? Because it is a very rare person that actually has the technical knowledge about planning and how to make it work and how to make it happen. And so when we talk about how we've created community in Westminster, how we've created places for people to gather, how we've created sustainability, and how we've created inclusivity, Sarah was really at the heart of that. And you can have those values and not know the technical details of how you do that. And she knows how to build towns and cities to incorporate those values. And that's pretty rare. And that's a unicorn. And it's one of the reasons I'm so excited that Sarah is running, because she truly understands how to do that. And then there was this one small comment that she had. Sarah said, I tortured people making sure the park wasn't next to the highway. And it wasn't torture, but it was actually really smart planning, right? If you understand what it takes to build community and who's going to be at that park and when they're going to be at that park and how they access that park and the pollutants that come from putting the park right next to the highway, that's what Sarah understood, right? Is that if we're actually going to think about equity, if we're going to think about what community is, if we're going to think about how we're building things, and frankly, all these people were saying the park needs to be right next to the highway, because if it's for community, then it's probably the least important part of it. And Sarah said, if it's for community, it's the most important part of this development. And it shouldn't be right next to the highway, and it should be the heart of what we're developing. And that is exactly what Sarah does. And that's why I'm so excited to support Sarah for being on the Westminster City Council. I don't think we could have someone that's more qualified, more passionate, has more integrity, and is going to do the hard work day in and day out to make sure that we continue to create that inclusive community, that sustainable community that we need. But we don't do this by ourselves. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is put in the chat the last thing that you bought. So the last thing that I bought was actually my best friend that's a teacher makes kombucha, and I'm a monthly subscriber. And so that monthly subscription is $38. It's the last thing I bought. I'm going to donate an additional $38 to what I already bought, what I already donated to Sarah tonight, because I value her leadership more than I value the kombucha I bought my family. And so I want people to enter into the chat the last thing they bought. It could be some milk, it could be some shoes, it could be something on Amazon. I want you to enter into the chat the last thing you bought and how much more, because I guarantee Sarah's leadership is worth more than the last material thing you bought. So we have dog food for $18. So we have another $18. Okay, so a Hallmark card for Father's Day. Okay, so a Hallmark card for Father's Day is probably as worth as much as Sarah's leadership, but I'll take the extra $4, right? Books for the kids, which is really important. I agree. And Sarah's leadership is also important. So $35 from Sarah. The book, The Alchemist. Good job, Anita, buying books. Queso. A new pair of Vans, $45. A new guinea pig cage, $35. All right. This is starting to add up. Some snacks from Target, $40. $50 donation to Sarah, which is great. And so in politics, there's this idea that we run and we're on our own and we're the singular leader, but actually we're just big teams. And when we all come together as a team, that's when we make the biggest difference. And so today I am asking you to invest in Sarah and think about the last thing you bought and think, is Sarah's leadership, is my investment in the vision of Westminster worth that much? And I would imagine that the answer is going to be yes. So I'm going to ask you to do that, because when you're investing in Sarah, you're buying her first lip piece, because I know she's going to go door to door and she's going to talk to voters and she's going to tell her story that you heard here tonight. But she has to buy that lip piece, and she has to have mail pieces that go out, and she needs to provide those snacks for volunteers. So the person that just bought snacks from Target, donate that so Sarah can buy snacks for her volunteers that are going door to door. Right? So everyone, please continue to make your investment into Sarah, because we can't do this by ourselves. And we are a team, and we have to invest in the vision of what we want Westminster to be. And we want it to be sustainable. We want it to be inclusive. We want to continue forward. And that means electing Sarah. And I'm so proud and excited to stand with Sarah.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you, everybody, for some of those contributions that were the last thing that you bought. That was I greatly appreciate that. And I will tell you, I did post this on Facebook, but having not run my own campaign before, I didn't know how hard it is, and just how much even the small donations mean to a candidate, because it is true, it is those it's a book of stamps to send literature. It is like, the clipboards to organize ourselves while we're out there handing out lit pieces, going door to door, and it's just a lot of work. And I greatly appreciate too, those folks who are willing to volunteer their time and who might join me over this summer and going door to door. So I'm going to put a link to my donation again so it's easy for everyone to click on if you would like. And also though, please do go to my website or just email me and let me know if you'd be willing to join me on any part of my campaign in any type of fashion. Mostly it will be volunteering for walking with me and getting the vote out in the summer and over the fall.
So this is Anita. I just want to say we need to fundraise for Sarah, but we also need to friend raise. When you are talking to people, let people know how amazing Sarah is. Let people know about this call today, what you learned about her, about how she takes vision and transforms it into action and results for our community. So fundraise and friend raise for this amazing candidate.
I thank you for taking time out and spending it with me and letting me blab for quite a while to you. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the summer. I will have some more events, hopefully one downtown. We'll storm downtown and we'll go have some fun. And I'll take you guys through a tour. I would love to talk about what we have there, why we have it there, and then go talk about it over drinks, because there are hopefully going to be many places for happy hours in downtown. All right. Thanks again, everybody in the chat who is telling me that you've donated. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Sarah, can I say something really quick as just one of your new friends?
Yes.
Okay, so as one of your new friends, I met Sarah at City County of Denver. I'm a transportation planner. I also want to. I'm going to be Sarah's. Maybe. I mean, I would love to say the #1 cheerleader, but I don't know if the husband or the 3 kids would fall #1, 2, 3, and 4. So maybe I'm going to be in the #5 spot. I will say this. I think one thing too is please start sharing this with all your friends and family that live in Westminster. Let them know about Sarah. Send them if you can, whether again you share it on social media, whether you take 2 minutes to send an email out saying, hey, my friend, or this this amazing lady that I know. I mean, let's get the word spread out that Sarah is running, and that if you feel comfortable asking for people to support for her, that's fine. But don't feel pressure to do that. If anything, we want to let them know that Sarah's running, and at the end of the day, we're going to need their vote, and we're going to need their support and their vote for her, because it's, again, a really important time. So I think definitely if people are willing to do that, that'll be really helpful as well.
Thank you, Eileen.
Hey, Sarah, it's Cassie. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something too, just about the downtown. And I worked in local nonprofits and worked in housing and homelessness for almost the last 20 years. And we serve folks who live in the housing complex that you were part of that design process down there. And I know Faith worked in homelessness, and I know she's been in homes of places that we probably would not set our children or allow them to go. And the first time I toured the Eaton Street apartments, I was in tears with the amenities and the amount of detail that the developers and the city made sure that we guaranteed to people who are low income. They don't have to live in places that are falling down, or paint is chipping, or molding is stapled to walls, and they are beautiful, and people have the right to live in great conditions. And I know you played a major part in that. And so I just want the people here on this call, and people who might listen to this, to know how genuine you are when you're saying that people deserve to have a safe and healthy place to live. I've seen it firsthand, and I just want to commend you for your work on that.
Thank you, Cassie. That means a lot, because that is one of the tenets behind what I believe about affordable housing, that everybody deserves the respect of living in a place that is beautiful, that is safe, that is comfortable. And the Eaton Street project did make me cry when I first saw kids getting on a bus in front of it, the first time they were going off to school, because I knew that children were there and that they had a wonderful place to live. And I've lived in affordable housing myself. I can only I just know it's just you and me. I mean, any one of us could be there, right, at any point in our lives if something should or has gone wrong, or financially been struggling. So that means a lot to me.
Absolutely. We just housed someone there this weekend also, so I'm cheering it. So thank you for all your hard work there.
Yes, that is my favorite project ever.
Sarah, do you mind if I piggyback on that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
So I was really lucky when I first got on council to work with Faith Winter, who knew so much about affordable housing, Alberto Garcia and Emma Pinter. And then later I had Maria DeCambra and Shannon Bird, all of us wanting to work on affordable housing. But even with that chorus of voices on council, all of us demanding really of staff that at this downtown, we wanted to see a 20% as dedicated, affordable, and attainable housing, it was hard. And I know we would not have been able to have it actualized in the level of quality that we did without Sarah pushing the needle. So I know that we gave the policy mandate, but when it came down to it, making it be that high quality product, I know that has Sarah's fingerprints all over it.
It's true. I told the architects they needed to put pantries in the kitchen. I know. I didn't see any in the designs they were showing. I said, people need pantries.
Yes, they need pantries. Oh my gosh, this is why people with lived experience, people who've been there, need to be part of decisions, and that's why we need people like you on these councils who can direct this. And I think, you know, whoever said it earlier, like, local elections matter. Like, if you want a freaking pantry in your place, like, you want moms on these city councils. I kid you not. Like, and that might not seem like a big deal, but dang, if you don't have a place to put this food, it is a pain.
I know. The simple things. Thank you for coming. All right, guys. Oh, thank
Bye. Congratulations, Sarah.
you. Bye, guys.
Bye, Sarah.
Thank you.